You are allowed to say no. And you're not alone if saying no to someone close to you feels challenging and overwhelming right now. Even if it's someone who is in your inner circle, even if it's someone who babysits your kids and fur babies and checks the mail for you when you go on vacation, even if it's someone who you love dearly. It might be your mom or dad, mother-in-law, your sister, your brother, your kids, your favorite cousin you grew up with, your aunt, your friend you've known since forever. We're talking about setting boundaries and 4 questions to ask yourself if today you're struggling with saying no to someone who is close to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether you're new to this podcast or you're tuning in for the second time, I appreciate you. You're listening to episode 2 of the Motivation Medium podcast. I'm Amber Malone, and we're going to do the same thing every week. We're just collecting information, learning more about ourselves, and having hashtag zero shame conversations.
Earth is a school. It's a school. Always has been.
Welcome to the Motivation Medium podcast. I'm Amber Malone, and every week I'll share helpful ways to overcome shame and gentle reminders about embracing self-love. Together, we'll become more curious about our feelings and our human experience. Visit motivationmedium.com for more self-love tools. Saying no doesn't make you selfish or mean or a bad person. It doesn't mean you're holding a grudge or you haven't healed. You can set boundaries and say no and be a positive, loving, spiritual, conscious, and kind person. I've got 4 questions to ask yourself if you're struggling with saying no to someone close to you today. Okay, jumping right in. Number 1, am I in an emotional space to be a support right now? Are you in an emotional space to be a support? You know yourself best. There may be a gazillion different scenarios and reasons for why you're feeling like you're not in an emotional space to be a support to your close family member or friend right now. You don't need a reason other than you're not in an emotional space to be a support. There are times when we all need emotional space, and you are allowed to say no without an explanation, period. You're allowed to put your needs first. Maybe your family member, close friend, whoever is asking you to do something for them. Maybe they just want to hang out. Maybe they're going through something and they want to talk about it. Whatever the scenario, if emotionally you're not feeling like you're in a space to be a support, that's okay. Just because you're not in an emotional space to be a support right now doesn't mean you're a bad daughter or friend or sister or brother or uncle. It doesn't mean you're selfish or mean. You know what it means? You're not in an emotional space to be a support in this moment. You've heard the saying, no is a complete sentence, right? I'm not in an emotional space to be a support right now is a complete sentence too. You're doing your best to create space for your feelings, and that's okay. Okay, question number 2. Is there something going on within my body? Maybe you're aware of your breathing or sensations that are happening right now in your body. If you're feeling like your body is saying, please don't suppress or override what I'm trying to tell you. You might be learning more about your body's feedback. You're learning how valid your feelings are and how much your body's feedback matters. So, saying no is the self care option for you right now. You're learning new strengths within yourself and you're trusting the voice within. You're letting yourself explore what your body is saying to you, and that's a great thing. All right, next question to ask yourself. Am I focused on how I should be feeling? And what that might sound like is, I shouldn't be feeling this way about this person. They've done a lot for me. They've always been there for me. Even if they've done a lot for you, even if they've always been there for you, you are allowed to say no and set boundaries. Because shame says, I shouldn't be feeling this way. Self-compassion says, it's okay to acknowledge how I'm feeling right now. Now, you might be saying, Amber, I hear you, but you don't know my mother. You don't know my friend. You don't know my brother. Saying no is going to hurt their feelings. And I care about their feelings. I care about the relationship. And I hear you. You are allowed to choose not to anticipate how others are feeling. You are allowed to put your needs first. You are honoring your feelings and your needs right now, and you are allowed the time you need to process, even if it hurts someone's feelings. You are allowed to say no, even if you've already said yes, because you are allowed to change your mind. The goal here is not to try and change how someone else feels, even if they feel disappointed. Your feelings matter too. Right now, in this moment, you're having a conversation with yourself about how you're feeling, because you're going to feel how you feel. Which brings me to question number 4. Is this experience an opportunity for me to practice self-compassion? Sometimes when it comes to setting boundaries in our close relationships, it helps to try on saying yes to yourself. How does it feel in your body to say yes to yourself? Explore how saying yes strengthens your intuition. How saying yes to yourself is honoring your feelings. How does saying yes to yourself acknowledge that it's okay to say no? It's a process, right? I mean, yeah, it's a process. And we're just curious about what that process looks like, feels like, and sounds like for us. There's a spiritual perspective that resonates with me, and it may or may not resonate with you, and that's okay. It's the perspective that says you're experiencing and you're also observing. So, on one hand, you're experiencing these opportunities for self awareness, and you're also observing yourself communicating your feelings and needs. You're listening to your body, you're asking questions, you're embracing all of your feelings, and other people might hear no differently, and that's okay. You're becoming more aware of your breath and more connected to your body. You're divinely yourself, and it's compassionate to set boundaries. You're worthy of the compassion you give to others. On that note, keep growing, keep exploring, keep practicing patience for your inner self. One day at a time, one moment at a time, this moment. You know how much I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for all of the support. And let's talk again next week.